Welcome to Tony McGee's Pro Football Plus. We have a big show for you this week. We're going to FedEx Field so we can get the new name of the Washington football team. You can see what they were doing when they named it. Then we'll go out to Crystal City. We'll go to the Hilton, where Gary Clark has an extravaganza that he is honoring Doug Williams, the first Black quarterback to win a Super Bowl. Last but not least, we come back to the studio. You will get my picks for the Super Bowl. I may even give you points. But first and foremost, let me take care of a little business. We do have another show in 2 weeks. Look for it. As I said, we're trying to get James Brown to host it. I think it's something you would really enjoy. And we're starting a podcast. At the beginning of next month, Donna Hopkins and I started a podcast, and the name of it is In the Minute. So you have to watch for that. But no further ado, let's go to FedEx Field, get the new name of the Washington football team.
We are the Commanders.
The build-up, everybody wondering what the new name was going to be. Well, the wait is over. For 19 months, they were the Washington football team, and now they are the Washington Commanders.
Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us today. Today's a big day for our team, our fans, a day in which we embark on a new chapter as the Washington Commanders. It's been a long journey to get to this point. We've been grateful to everyone who's been part of this process along the way. I want to thank our great alumni. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you for being part of the process. Many of you have been on the committee calls, and it's just been great, and we really appreciate you helping us to connect the past to our future. I'd like to bring up Tanya, my co-owner of the team and partner, and thank you.
Hi, thank you, Dan. How excited are we that it's today? I'm so thrilled. I want to start by expressing our gratitude that you've joined us today for this momentous occasion, as well as many partners that have joined us along the journey. As we kick off our 90th year, we're excited to celebrate the rich history of the burgundy and gold while also paving the way for our new tradition as Washington Commanders. To help us kick off the celebration and to reveal the new jersey, I'd like to invite two special guests to the stage who perfectly represent the connection of our stories past to our future. I'd like to start with team legend, Super Bowl champion, and former NFL MVP, Joe Theismann, and team captain and Pro Bowl defensive tackle, Jonathan Allen.
I get to go first.
Well, where's Joey? Okay. So I now, with honor, present to you the Washington Commanders. Everybody step up. Our new uniform.
Right.
Ta-da!
It has been a long process, but an engaging one and an insightful one that's really been driven by our fans. And we landed on this after getting 40,000 submissions to WashingtonJourney.com, plus thousands of other submissions by snail mail that got us down to 1,200 unique names and eventually to where we are today. And we set a precedent that that process was going to be open and engaging. This wasn't something we were going to go off in a back room and just decide. And we landed on this after conversations with alumni in focus groups with longtime fans, people that we want to become fans, community leaders, folks in the area who are doing great things. That is how we got here. And we landed on this in part because we believe the Washington Commanders can carry the rich legacy of this team, a championship legacy. It's got the weight and heft of something that is befitting a 90-year franchise. It's something that broadly resonated with our fans in this process, and it's something that embodies the values of service and leadership that really characterize the DMV and this broader community. This is a community of leaders, of service-minded people, not just in the overt ways of like the federal government and that sort of thing, but also all the nonprofits that find their start here and are trying to change the world for the better. It's the people who are creating community partnerships in and around this area. This is a place of leaders. This is a place of people that want to change things for the better. And the Washington Commanders embodies that.
And it's good finally that they move on from that Washington football team, Washington Redskins, and embrace this new name and where this team is going and getting the fans more excited about getting back in the stands.
Yeah, I think that's the key here. And that's one of the reasons why they have all of us alumni here together, is they want to make sure that all of our fans from all these 90 years that we've been in existence with other names, that we will, this new name is going to mean something, and that hopefully the people will come back and start filling the stands again like they used to at RFK and make the stands rock.
Well, we're back again with another Washington Commanders fans. He's got the mask on, but tell me do you like this new name?
Well, Sister Donna, you know, I've been patting my feet doing this thing a long time. And sometimes change is good and sometimes change is bad. But right now, the people's hype man, Rev T, I'm happy and not sad. Because in the final minutes, in the final hours, the people gonna stand with this burgundy gold power. I'm a commander now. I said, son, march with me.
Okay, you heard that. March with him because
everywhere we go, people want to know who we are. The mighty Commanders. Believe that, baby. March with me. Ow! Love somebody.
Hey, you know what? He's already got the song for the new Washington Commanders.
Now we will go to Crystal City. We're going over there where Gary Clark is hosting extravaganza for the first black quarterback, the great Doug Williams, to win the Super Bowl. Gary put this together himself along with his teammates. And that tells you something. That's why they were a Super Bowl team, because they were a family. And this is something you do not want to miss, because Doug Williams, he changed the whole game. All these young quarterbacks you see right now, it is because of him, the way he played and being the first African-American. So let's go over there and see what's happening. Don and Mike's over there. Tell me what's going on, Mike.
Hello, could you tell me your names first?
Wanda Durant, Jan Adams,
Are you excited about tonight being here for this event? I can see the smiles on your face to honor Doug Williams and a Super Bowl in 30 years.
I know. I can remember watching that Super Bowl, and I've been searching for that kind of football ever since. And so it's exciting to be here. It's an honor and a pleasure for me to be here. So I'm so grateful for the invitation.
And I was in the U.S. Air Force stationed on the island of Crete, Greece, when we had to get up early in the morning to watch that game. And we were so excited. You know, he was so amazing. And it really, his fortitude is instilled in me, even today, how I should be, you know,
Yes.
because he's an amazing example.
Yes, he really is. And to be the first black quarterback to win a Super Bowl, I mean, what an accomplishment, and what a example for all young athletes, that you have to continue to work hard, be dedicated and committed, and if you do that, the possibilities are great, and possibly you could be a Super Bowl champion as well.
Well, you all are in for a treat tonight.
Yeah, I think so too. And you know, I own two businesses, and you know, just his diligence, his, like I said, his fortitude, his attention to detail, all of that is resonated with me, and I use a lot of that in my businesses today.
Yes,
so.
yes, and I run my own foundation. And likewise, I work hard, and I'm diligent, and I'm passionate and compassionate about the communities that I serve. And as we look at examples like Doug Williams, we can pull from him and be what our community needs to this day, 30 years later.
Thank you so much.
The gentleman that we're honoring tonight is a great example of what can happen. You don't have to start off in first place, but you do have to end up in first place. And some of our roads are completely different. But no matter what, we have to end up in first place. And that's what it's all about. And I want to introduce some guys. First of all, a man who swears he has a cigar for me, and if he does, it'll be the first time in 20 years that he's done it. Clarence Vaughn. Hard-hitting safety.
What did Doug basically resonate to his players and to people in general?
It's just stay focused. Confidence, just sheer confidence that, hey, you can do this. This is who I am. This is who you are. Then, like, what you see a guy like that in that position as a quarterback. You know, black quarterback is really inspirational to other black NFL players. I'm just putting it out there, and that's so true. Back then, and I'm hoping that he set the way for all these rest of these quarterbacks to get in there and just bomb that stereotype. But he's probably one of the best pocket quarterbacks I've seen, and we used to call him a touch of class back then. And I'll say that, and I heard some of the interviews about our one-on-ones. I played cornerback in a certain situation. I was a backup cornerback in the Super Bowl, whatever. But in one-on-ones, Pettibone to teach us, get right up on the guy's hip, get right up on him. You could be right on the guy, and Doug had his pass. It would come. There's just no way, it would just drop right in there. And then Pettibone would go, he would normally cuss you out. But
he was impressed, right?
He would look and see that like, we can't do nothing about that. That's a good one. That's a good coverage though. Just keep staring there. But it's just sometimes if you get the right perfect pass, you just can't stop it.
Here with the great Ken Harvey. Ken, what a night tonight to be honoring Doug Williams and the Super Bowl, the fact 30 years ago.
It is. I mean, look, Doug is opened up the gates for so many people. You look at the teams, the way the NFL is now, all the African-American quarterbacks, and he was the guy that opened that up, or at least in the very beginning, he was one of them. So it's just great. Now you look at the Super Bowl and all these amazing games that we've had leading up to it. It's a great time, and it's a perfect time for this celebration.
What do you remember about Doug Williams and how special he is?
Well, so I think I'm coming from a different perspective. I don't remember Doug as much as I remember my dad cheering for him. And for me, that was like the greatest thing to see your dad become this kid because of what it meant for him. And that's what I remember more. I remember that association of my dad being so proud that an African-American quarterback was doing that. So
you can feel the energy already, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, it's cool that you're here. And there are a lot of people who want to be around the former players that, remember the history of the game and history of Doug and the Washington football, whatever the team's name. And so the energy's here, and it's an exciting time.
Thanks a lot, Ken. Enjoy.
The next young man, he introduced himself to the Burgundy and Gold Nation. When he covered a kick, his helmet came off and he made the tackle. And I knew then he's a fool. But I want him on my team. And that is the pride of Arkansas, Raven Caldwell.
So when you got to know Doug as a teammate over the years, what stands out most about Doug?
For me, Doug was, I'm not going to say he didn't get excited, but he was that level guy that, he was always calm under pressure or anything like that. But he was just, he was just always that calm guy. I mean, even like doing the game and stuff like that. He wasn't a big hurrah guy, anything like that, but, he was cool.
What an exciting evening. Can you tell us your names?
My name is Lewis.
Stacy. Very good to see you here tonight. Are you excited for the big event?
Very excited. Looking forward to meeting everyone.
And what are you excited about tonight? What is so special about tonight for you?
After everything that's happened with the pandemic, being out and about anytime is just fantastic.
Absolutely. That sounds so wonderful. Great to see you guys and enjoy the event.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
He wore 32. I call him my homeboy. He's from Southern California, San Diego State Aztec. One of the toughest guys I've ever seen on a football field. And for corners, they don't always have to be tough. They got to be fast. He was all of the above, and he wore 32 with pride. And he's a true champion, Vernon Dean.
I do remember one day we had a guy that was with us. Everybody called him CNN. And I'd never seen anybody do this to Darryl Green. And Doug said, hey, I'm going to complete every pass on you today. True story. Now most people think that Dan Marino created the back shoulder fade, but I'm here to tell you, the first person that I saw throw the back shoulder fade was Doug Williams in practice to Clarence Verdun, and he did it on Darryl Green every single play because he did complete it. Now, that's not taking anything from Darryl, because at the time, Darryl was a downfield player, and nobody's seen back shoulder fades. So Darryl's thinking we're going to beat you downfield, and Doug, forward thinking, how can I say, a visionary, said, oh no, if the guy's fast, throw the ball behind him. He won't react to him. So that's, I don't know if that's good enough, but
No,
that's the story.
But that's good, and thank you so much. Vernon Dean, back shoulder fade. Wasn't Dan Marino, it was Doug Williams.
Good evening and welcome. And can you tell us your name?
Mike Seaman.
Karen Seaman.
Very good to see you tonight. Are you excited for this big event?
We are.
Wonderful. And how do you know Doug?
I've known Doug from a long time ago, 1987. And he's been one of my famous players of all times.
And we're suite owners at FedEx.
Amazing. Wonderful. So tonight is very special for you, huh?
Yes.
Awesome. Well, have a great evening. Enjoy.
Thank you.
Rollo McKenzie is a twin. And unfortunately, his brother inherited the looks in the family. And he was with the Raiders. And Reggie, it's okay. He knows. But the thing about Rollo is that he's just got a great heart. And his wife, Martha, was our middle son's pride and joy. He loves Martha McKenzie. And we love Martha because she loves Rollo. I mean, and you will not find a better person. He played all 5 positions. He's probably the most underrated guy in the history of the organization because he was dominant at 5 positions: H-back, tackle, guard, and center. A remarkable individual out of the University of Tennessee that he and Darryl Grant, and I'm saying this because I can, because I have a microphone. Darryl Grant and Rollo McKenzie deserve far more than they've received. because they did everything that was asked of them on teams, offense, defense, multiple positions, and they did it with class. Ladies and gentlemen, Rollo McKenzie.
And Doug fit right in. You know, he wasn't like a guy that come in and he's this kind of quarterback or that kind of quarterback. You know, and because he's with a lot of people come into a new team, they think, I should be treated a different way. But Doug just, you went in and grind, nose to the grind, just like everybody else. Practice hard every day and let the chips fall where they may. And with Doug, he stayed, persevered, and on top. Then back as a backup, and back again, and took us on to the Super Bowl just in that year. A lot of people would have crumbled, but Doug stayed the course and persevered.
Well, first I want to ask your name.
Jerry Burkott.
Alexandra Sonnenberg.
We're from Velocity Wings.
Oh, wow. So what a great night and honoring Doug Williams and the Super Bowl. Are you a Washington fan?
I've been a Washington fan all my life. Long time, longer than I care to admit, but back to the glory days, and just so excited to be here for Doug. He is just one of our all-time heroes. We love him.
Saints fan, New Orleans, born and raised. Love you, DJ. Doug's son is the wide receiver coach for the Saints. So.
Oh, great. So what do you remember most about Doug Williams?
Well, most people say the Super Bowl, which obviously, that's what he's best known for. But we were involved with Doug at the United Football League in Virginia Beach a few years back. And when you walk through Virginia Beach with Doug Williams, it's like walking through with a rock star. People just absolutely loved him. It was so exciting to be with him.
Exciting event tonight?
I'm so excited. Doug, you're my favorite customer. I love seeing you all the time, and you've just always been so friendly and welcoming, and congratulations.
Enjoy the event.
Thank you. Congratulations, Doug. Thank you for everything.
Good evening. Will you tell us your name?
I'm Derek Wittenberg, and I'm from Washington, D.C.
Well, me too.
I'm Joe Dunn.
Very good to see you tonight. Can you tell me something special about tonight?
Well, what's special, Doug Williams is one of my favorite players, wonderful human being, then great in the community. Everybody loves Doug Williams, so I want to come and support him.
Everybody loves Doug. And are you very excited to be here tonight?
Yes, ma'am, I am. Doug has been a friend for a long time. He supports a lot of the charity stuff I do. So I really wanted to come and celebrate the evening with him and my buddy Derek. So excited to be here.
Well, we're very excited to have you, and we're all excited for this evening, so enjoy.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
When I say posse in this town, everybody knows what it means. As a matter of fact, Gary Clark recommended, and it said, and it could very well be, we'll find out on 2/2/22 what exactly it is. He suggested that it be the posse. And you know what? It's not a bad ring. You're not going to find three guys that were different, but they were all together. James Arthur Monk, G. Clark, and Slick Rick. Ricky Sanders. Ladies and gentlemen, the best.
One thing a lot of people don't realize is Doug has always been a fighter. Always been a fighter. At Grambling, you could see he was a fighter. When he went to Tampa Bay, he was a fighter. He went to the USFL, he was a fighter. So I knew he was going to be in that game. And I didn't even realize he had tore his knee up when in that game, because I was out there doing my thing, trying to catch the ball. But when he went out and came back, because I seen a lot of films on it, and I was like, who is this person to tear your knee up and come back out there and score 35 points in one quarter? He threw me the first touchdown, 80-yard touchdown, and it was supposed to be a run play, and he audibled off. He was like, it's like we had a connection together, because when we came in together from the USFL, we were on the scout team together, so we had a connection, bam, 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 bam. But at that time in the Super Bowl when Denver was beating us 10-0, Doug looked over at me. It was like we were twins or something. We our eyes just
You
connected.
didn't even say anything. It was just the eyes.
It was just
but
the eye contact, and I could read his lip. And he was in the play was a run play, and he audibled off to a Charlie 10 hitch, and I can
Now, what's a Charlie 10 hitch?
see a Charlie 10 hitch is when a defensive back plays off on you about 5 yards, and he come up in your face to jam you. Charlie 10 hitch means you fade, hit it, and take it deep, and he's gonna throw it. And that was that 80-yard touchdown that started off the 35 points. And I was like, man, this brother here. And he just kept on, boom, Donnie won. Gary, here you won. Boom,
What was
Timmy.
his passes like, catching his passes?
I'm telling you, on a deep ball, you wouldn't want anybody else throwing the ball to you. It looked like you could see the ball rotating in the air. You can just see the steams, just boom, boom, and it was like in stride, dang, going with it. I mean, it was incredible. I done played with a lot of great quarterbacks. Jim Kelly was my quarterback in the USFL with the Houston Gamblers. You know, Mark Rippon, Jay Schrader, all these guys. I played with some great quarterbacks, but Doug.
Is he number one in your book?
Yeah.
Welcome. Can you tell us your names?
Yanni. Chris.
Angie. Very good to see you tonight. And can you tell us why you're here tonight?
For the Super Bowl ceremony?
We're here to celebrate a history that hopefully we get to see again one day soon, but that brought me at least a lot of memories, and I'm hoping that one day he gets to share that too.
Definitely. And are you excited for tonight?
Of course I am.
Amazing. Well, thank you for being here and enjoy.
Thank you.
When you were coming up, and when people mentioned Doug Williams,
Mm-hmm.
what did they say about Doug Williams?
It was all of these stories that they were so outlandish about how many yards he passed in the game, the way how far he can throw a football, that you didn't believe them. But I had a lot of relatives that were Southern fans and Grambling fans. So I went to the Bayou classes when I was young and things like that, so I got a chance to see him. And most quarterbacks in the SWAC were shorter guys that were mobile. Doug was that guy who was standing in the pocket and towered over everybody, and he threw bullets. You know, and I think that's the ultimate thing where everyone felt that the African-American quarterback was just a scrambler. He threw the ball as well as anybody I've ever seen. And me being a shorter guy, I wanted to be very good passing the ball. Although I knew I was going to run it, I tried to become a better passer because of Doug.
You've gotten to know Doug off the field,
Mm-hmm.
outside of football. And a lot of people don't know that side of Doug Williams. Talk to me about that side.
I think he's like this gentle giant in a sense. You know, you look at him, his hands, I got big hands. But his hand's about this big, and then when he shakes your hand, he can probably touch you on your elbow. But the whole thing about it is he's a likable guy who wants things to work out, and he's always trying to help people out. And I think that's where you go, where you see people who've been as high as he has in this sport. You know, he's coached, he's been in the front office, he's been a Super Bowl champion as a quarterback. But still, when he gets around you, all that stuff goes to the wayside. He's just a regular old country boy from Louisiana.
When you're writing the history books and you're talking about a Doug Williams,
Mm-hmm.
what would those history books say? I know a lot of people are going to be saying that the first African-American guy to win a Super Bowl, but what more will those history books be saying about Doug Williams?
Well, we talk about you making sacrifices, and you watching that football game where he was hurt, but he couldn't let his teammates down. He came back in the game, and I always say the will of a man is what you talk about. And he willed them to a victory, and a blowout victory at that. I think when those guys saw him come back in that game, limp on that football field, if anybody had ever thought about quitting or things of that nature, right now it goes out the window. Because a lot of people look at quarterbacks, and me being a quarterback for 9 years, they look at you as that guy who everybody shows favoritism to. You know, you can skate by and things of that nature. But when they see a quarterback work a little harder, fight through injury to come back out there, now they'll do anything for you. You know, like I've always said, Coach Gibbs was able to talk to people and make you want to run through a wall. I guarantee you that day, every person on that football team, offense, defense, special teams, were willing to run through a wall because they saw Doug Williams, the quarterback, come back in the game after being injured.
And for what he did when he came back.
He didn't come back
with an injury.
Yeah, he didn't come back and sit back and say, you know what, I showed back up. He showed out. And I don't think that record will ever be broken, all those points they put up in that one quarter.
Talk about the testimony of Doug Williams, because he wasn't even the starter that season.
Yeah.
And I know, talking to Doug, he talks about just waiting his turn and how to wait his turn. And you don't see that a lot in the game now, of people being patient to wait their turn. But Doug's turn came at an incredible moment when Coach Gibbs said, hey, you know what? You've been the quarterback all this time, but at this moment, I'm switching.
Yeah.
To put Doug
and
Williams
I think
in.
he tells a story where he said Coach Gibbs had told him, we're going to need you some point this season. And I think the story that's told in that situation is you don't know when it's coming, but you better be ready. See, a lot of guys always say they want the opportunity. Then they get that opportunity and they don't do anything. I could say some other stuff, but I'm not going to say it like that. They don't do anything. Doug was ready. And he was so ready that when it seems like that opportunity was being taken from him, he said, hell no, I can fight through this. And it just lets you know that as human beings, we don't know how far we can go until we go there. So I tell people what I did in the offseason, I tortured myself to know where I can go during the season. And Doug Williams, to be able to do the things he did, I'm going to say, first of all, it's his Louisiana roots, that's how tough we are. Secondly, he had pushed himself to know one day my team going to need me and I may be a little injured and I'm going to have to fight through it. And when he fought through it, he got the best of everybody. And I think many kids out there today should understand, you're not going to be 100% all the time. But if you give me 100% effort, you can do some amazing things. That's what he did that day.
What I love about Gary, I got a chance to actually play with Gary. He did carry cleats, he carried helmets, he did whatever we told him to do. That's how I knew he was a badass. Because any guy that can be humble enough, so you don't come into this league taking it over, you got to actually do it, then you can have it. This kid came in and we knew. Had we not had Mike Nelms, he might have been like B. Mitch, and there's nobody other than B. Mitch, like B. Mitch, other than the kid out of Chicago. We're talking about he would have been top 3 in the league because his quickness, he's still quick. And if you ever see him on a basketball court, you know exactly what I'm talking about. This is possible because Gary Clark is a giver. You don't find a lot of wide receivers that are givers, okay? So when you get a guy that, and what I love about him was that his tenacity. He doesn't want to win, he has to win. And to me, that's what he can't help it. He can't help it. No, he can't help it. It's like oxygen. People ask me all the time, he said, what is it about winning? Is that if you don't win, you die. And if you start to believe that and really get it in your mind the way it ought to be, it eliminates excuses. Because there's only going to be one survivor. And I like that. And the other thing about this young man is that if he has a bad moment in a game, look out. Because it's going to be followed up by 2 touchdowns. And he wore number 84, Gary Clark.
My whole life I wanted to win a Super Bowl. It was just that simple. And without this gentleman here, I don't get this ring. And who knows what happened? Maybe we don't get a second ring because we never got the first ring to start with. And being able to see the look on my father's face, my mother's face, after we won that football game, because they was in San Diego with me as well, be able to see the look on their face, the pride that just came out of them, was something that I will always owe Doug. And if anybody knows me, if you see Doug Williams come up to me, him or his wonderful and beautiful wife as well, I kneel down and I kissed her feet as I should. Because I'm really, truly that thankful, because without Dougie, my life goes in probably a completely different direction. Who knows where it goes into? Success breeds more success. And having this gentleman here do those things is unbelievable. I'm going to have him talk here in a little bit, but not right now because I'm enjoying the mic myself. But what I want to do is I want to show you what some of your teammates think about you and what just other people in general think about what you've done and what you've meant to them in their life. I'll tell you, brother, you're a rock star.
You know, you walk in here and you see the guys, you see Vernon, you see Caldwell, you see Vaughn, you see Dexter the Man and Rick Sanders and Doc and Rollo and Gary and Rick Gary. I'm not messing with you, Gary. But anyway, when you think about, you know, you talk about the 18 plays explosion, it was a reason why. Because of the defense. You know, when you think about what we did on offense, you got to think about what we did on defense. How many times they turned the ball over? How many times we got the ball? We had something to work with. Even though we didn't keep it long, 5 minutes or something to score them points, that's fine. But they had the ball longer than we did, but we took it away from them more than they took it away from us. So to say that it's a team game. It's not a one-man game. It's not an individual game. It's all of us. And that's what this celebration is all about, as far as I'm concerned. It's all of us. And, you know, when I stand here, you know, I really don't know how to take it. I don't even know what to say. Because, you know, every time I see Gary is, and like you say, you always kneel down. And to me, you know, if it wasn't for Gary, we wouldn't be here. He don't remember in the Minnesota game. You know, Gary ran a route, and it's one of those situations where the quarterback and the receiver has to be on the same page. And I can remember Coach calling scram 7. He's supposed to be running a corner route. By the time my right foot hit the ground, Gary had changed his route. But that's Gary Clark. He'll do that on you. And he had changed his route and hooked in. And as I was throwing the ball, I said, oh, shoot. And threw it right in there, and he caught the touchdown that ended up winning the game. But, I mean, that's just what happened in football. It's a spur-of-the-moment type of situation. You don't know what's going to happen. Just like the TD pass he caught in the Super Bowl. Dan Hennon, to this day, Dan was the quarterback coach with Coach Gibbs, man. Can't say enough about Coach Gibbs, but let me get this out the way. Dan Hennon, when I come to the sideline after the TD, he asked me, why did I throw it to Gary? I said he was open. and he quickly said, but the hot route was right there. The hot route was 20 yards from the goal line. Ricky was at the goal line. He was open. So, but it's one of those things where the average quarterback would have taken it back to keep from getting hit, where I didn't mind paying the price for a TD. And Gary ran a great route, and we hit Gary. And let me say this about Joe Gibbs, guys. You know, coming in here and listening to Joe, man, you know, you really don't know what Joe means to me, because I had an opportunity as a rookie to sit in Joe's dining room every night, training camp, you know, going over playbooks. After Pat, JD and Coy, JD bless his soul, you know, we all ate dinner first, and then they got out, and Joe and I, we went over the books, and when it was time before curfew, Joe got in his car and drove me back to the hotel. That wasn't one night, that was like every night. And 1987, we played a preseason game in LA, played against the Rams in LA. And, you know, we flew, you know, get back here in the morning, and coming off the plane, Joe and Bobby Bepter was waiting down at the steps. And when I got off, Joe said, Doug, come here. Well, he didn't call me Doug, he called me Douglas. Besides my brother, he the only guy that ever called me Douglas. You know, and he said, we traded you to the Raiders. I said, oh man, that is great. You know, I wasn't a starter, that was great. I got a chance to go play. He said, come by my office about 11:30. Come by my office, and I just tell you what the details. I said, oh man, I went home, packed my bags, called everybody in Zachary, Louisiana, all 10 of them. And told them all I was going to be a Raider. I packed my bags, was ready to go, and I went to the office, and I went to see Joe. Joe hadn't made it in. And then when he finally came in, you know, I'm just sitting just to hear the news. I'm waiting on the news. And he just sat down, he looked at me. You know that funny laugh if you've been around Joe. He said, ha, ha. He said, I changed my mind. There was no smile on my face. And I looked at Joe, I said, you can't change your mind. And that's who I know Joe was. He became serious. He said, look, I don't work for the Raiders. I work for the Washington Redskins. And that time I just sat back in my chair and I just looked at him. And then he told me, you know, what's what? He said, look, I got a feeling. This is the honest, good Lord truth. He said, I got a feeling. You ever been around Joe, he always gonna have a feeling. And if he tell you he got a feeling, he got a feeling. He said, I got a feeling that somewhere, this is 1987, he said, somewhere along this line, you're gonna come in here and we're gonna win this thing. Now, Joe told me that before the season ever started. Now, you know, I'm sitting there, I ain't give a damn about this, his feeling at that time. It wasn't feeling me. You know, when he said that, I ain't have no feeling at all. He just took my whole dream away. And but when I left his office, I just went on downstairs and went to the radio room, did what I had to do, and he told me, I talked to him about it. He told me, he said, when I left out there, he didn't know what to expect. So he went down, our strength guy name was D-Boy. He said he went down and he saw D-Boy, he said, how did Doug take that? Did he come down to work? D-Boy said, nothing, he just went and got his workout in, he gone. And when I walked off that field in San Diego, you know, the first thing I did, I ran into Coach Robinson. Didn't even know he was at the game. The NFL had brought him to the game. Walked off the field in the tunnel. I don't know who threw more snot, him or me. We both cried. And the one thing he told me, he said, man, he said the day was a day, remind him of Joe Louis knocking out Matt Snelling. And some of us might not know what that is. You know, I had to look it up myself. But then I understood what he was talking about. He said that's exactly what the day was for him. And I left him and went on into the dressing room and ran into Joe. And the first thing Joe, he hugged me and he told me, he said, I told you. I said, yeah, Coach, we got it done. And, you know, I'm grateful for that opportunity to be a part of the Washington football team. At that time, it was the Washington Redskins. And I can tell you this, when I left from Tampa to the USFL to here, it was day and night because the fans made it day and night. You know, no went to a place with the fans that was so passionate about the game of football as they were. And I think that's what we're trying to get back to now is those fans. You know, I mean, sometimes it's scary when you see the fans not in the stadium, but you know what? It's because they want to be there. They want to be there. They want what they want. And I think we're in a position now with the young players that we do have. You know, it's a couple pieces here and there that we need to put in the puzzle, and we'll get back to what we're supposed to be. And that's winning. You're talking about 90-some years of the Washington Redskins, the historical organization. It is what it is. And we're going to change the name, and we understand some people might not, in their mind, might not ever change, but because of obvious reason, we have to change. And somewhere along the line, these players gonna make the name change a lot better. You know, you can hold on to what you want to hold on to, but the name change is gonna be what it is. And we got to deal with that from that standpoint.
Just want to say thank you guys for coming out. I want to thank all the sponsors, all our silver sponsors. I want to thank everybody for coming out. And literally, when I say the music is going to be fantastic, Lenny Harris and NWO, as well as some friends as well. We have some other artists as well. You guys are going to go out, so enjoy the rest of the night. Lenny, get this party started, get the band started. You guys go ahead and get the cranking away. Thank everybody for coming out tonight. The party's just starting right now, but it's going to end at 11 o'clock sharp because they're going to kick us out at 11 p.m. But enjoy it for the rest of the night. Thank you guys so much for coming out here. And before it's all said and done, please, everybody stand up and give Doug Williams a round of applause because he 100% is the reason why football is played the way it is played today. Doug Williams winning that game changed everything.
We're with Charles Hill. He's the general manager here at the Hilton Crystal City. Welcome. I understand that you're a big Washington football team, but let's say Washington Redskins fan, because I heard that you watched that first Super Bowl.
I did, yeah. I grew up here in the Washington area, always a big fan of the Redskins, and the first Super Bowl I remember was the one where they won with Doug Williams at the helm. So it was an exciting time to be in Washington and to be a fan for the team.
How exciting is it to have this event here at the Hilton Crystal City to honor Doug Williams for what he did in that Super Bowl, and then all the teammates that's going to be there here to honor him also?
Yeah, I think it's pretty special. You see an event like that happen and you don't really know the lasting impact it's going to have until you fast forward to today, and we can see the impact that Doug Williams in particular has had on the game of football. So it's really special for us to have all these players coming here to the hotel. I know the team is thrilled to welcome them and to host the event here at the Hilton.
I told you this would be an exciting show. Now for the big time. Let's talk a little bit of Super Bowl. I'm going to give you my pick. You got the Rams, high-powered team. Went out and got a lot of people to help them on defense, got a quarterback that they feel like could be the quarterback of the future, a young coach, and been to the Super Bowl before. Then you have Cincinnati, a young team that a couple of years ago, they only won 2 games. This time they come back and they beat a lot of good people because they do not know how to be afraid. So when you go into that game, you figure, what is the one thing the Rams have that the Bengals do not? And they can rush the pass. The Bengals cannot block the run, the rushers. So therefore, that is the only edge I see in this Super Bowl. Now, they say the Rams are so much better. I'm going to tell you right now, folks, this is going to be a 7-point game. And I feel like the Rams are winning only because they have the most veterans and they have the most playmakers. Now, you can look at it any way you want, but I'm looking at it 24-17. Los Angeles Rams. Now, remember one thing. During the course of this year, I led the whole time in the picks until I let Donna lead it first, naturally. But when it counted, I gave you the ones, and I'm giving you that now. As I told you, this is our last football show for the year, but we have the Black 14 show to be on in 2 weeks. I also want to do one thing when we're ending our football shows for the year. I always want to tell you as fans, thank you. Thank you for this 37th year of making it exciting for me just to know that you're watching. Thank you for coming back each and every year, and thank you for being you. So until a couple of weeks, we will not say goodbye. We'll say in a minute.